In this place, you will find hopelessness. It is a place where people are forgotten, a problem locked away. The message is loud and clear. Society has no value for you. This message takes a tragic toll on a person's very soul.
These guys have spent the better part of their lives with people telling them that they can't do something, that they're nothing, that they weren't worth the time, that it was no point investing in them because they weren't going to amount to anything anyway. In addition to whatever else I'm doing in the very little time I have with them to not reinterpret that narrative, but to destroy that narrative and give them a different one. You are something. You are worth it.
I was made to feel like, I was something that shouldn't be around society.
A lot of the examples that I had immediately connected to me wasn't exactly the right ones. And I believe that kind of led me down a path to making bad decisions.
Changing a person's perspective on his own life, especially when they receive the same negative message day upon day, represents a monumental challenge. But there are those called to accept this mission.
I had taught at someplace called the Dan Street Correctional Facility, Juvenile Detention Center in Akron, Ohio, when I was still in grad school back in Ohio. So I had been inside of prisons before during ministry, but nothing to this extent, nothing to this degree for an extended period on a weekly basis like this is going to turn out to be.
In our society, to be incarcerated is to be forgotten. Dr. Fred Johnson, Guy Vanderjack Endowed Professor of History at Hope College, in partnership with the Muskegon Correction Facility, comes alongside those pushed into the shadows to offer them hope. A hope that comes through the opportunity for education.
Whenever you're going to voluntarily walk inside of a prison, there's some trepidation. And I'll be honest with you, going inside of a prison as a black man, I was raised in a generation where the objective, anybody's objective, is to stay out of a prison. I remember the commitment that I made, not on becoming a Christian, but many times during my Christian walk, which is, I will go where you send me, where you want me to go. This is the same kind of place where Jesus was going, where he said, well, you should go, visit me in prison, visit me in the homeless shelters, feed the hungry, clothe the naked, do all these things as part of our Christian walk. And apparently this is where my master wanted me to go. So I said, I made a promise. I guess I better go ahead and keep it.
For many, incarceration serves as a harsh critique of their past, highlighting past mistakes, circumstances, and missed opportunities. Through the Hope Western Prison Education Program, Dr. Johnson invites students to change the direction of their lives by transforming their minds.
Intellectually, I knew I'll be going inside of a prison where the prison population in America, has been inordinately overrepresented by black people or people of color. I wanted to give them an education on the Civil War. That's what I was teaching. So I knew we'll be talking to a group of black men about a time of slavery and Underground Railroad, those kind of things, which have race embedded into and flowing through the entire subject matter. And then, of course, constitutional issues, the Civil War, et cetera, and so on. But when I walked in, and the first time they sat down, and the room had 24 men in it, 19 who were black, 2 white guys, 3 Latinos, I had something of an overload moment. So I'm going to get up here for the next 16 weeks and talk to these guys who have been held against their will. But a time in American history when black people were being held against their will, when the law was involved, and the law was involved in their case, the law was involved in the case of the Civil War, through the coming of the Civil War, the Constitutional Convention. We're going to delve into all that stuff. And I began to wonder, how is this going to land in here when these guys are obviously so closely associated with the law? I said, well, better saddle up for a different experience. I had no idea what to think at that point. I had nothing to do, and knowing nothing, I simply just went straight into it. I started talking about the Civil War as a as the Second American Revolution, as many historians ever have described it. And why was it a Second American Revolution? What was the first one about? What did the first one fail to do that required the second one? Did the second one achieve its objectives too through Reconstruction? All these things, and we're still kind of nibbling around the edges, but not getting to the heart of the matter, which is the issue of slavery, race-based slavery, and that long tradition of race-based slavery and how it bifurcated the society and all the trouble that it caused and all the various permutations that brought us right down to that moment in that room. So it was there that I first dove in with them. But they were watching me, essentially checking me out. You know, who is this guy? Is he for real? What is he coming at us with? Is he bringing the real deal? I mean, all these things I guess I was just presuming were going through their minds. I began to realize by the second meeting that there was already a change occurring in how we were relating to each other. And that look in their eyes, like this desire for information is pulling, like, you know, from some type of a giant magnet. They want everything they can get from you. And the questions are coming. And the dialogue is vigorous. And they are so thirsty for knowledge. And there's an awareness that they didn't get this chance before. They either didn't get it before, it wasn't available to them, or they had it and they squandered it. But this time, they're not gonna do that. So they're all in.
Education is the door to a better future for the student. Like, and I just simply put it like this: the more I know, right, the better my chances of making a good decision. Like, just generally speaking, if I know more about life, I know more about, you know, humanity, I know more about a particular discipline, it equips me to make a better decisions.
The third time we met, I did something which kind of surprised me that third morning that I met with them. I said, as they were coming in, I met them at the door. So I shook each of their hands coming in. And then I went to the front of the room and I said, look, I need to get you guys permission to do something. And I wanted to do it like that because they're in an environment, I presume, that nobody ever asked them for their opinion or asked them to get their permission to do anything. So I need your permission to refer to you all as scholars. That changed everything. The fact that somebody asked them for permission, the fact that a person in the front of the classroom was asking their permission to do something as far as giving them a name. Because people have been naming them, in that group, people have been naming them a bunch of things, most of it pretty offensive all their lives. And now someone's asking to give them a name, or you refer to them by a name that they choose to agree with, and it's one of a thing called scholar. It means that you are dedicated to the enterprise of learning. You're not doing it in just any old kind of way, like showing up in the classroom, but you're thoroughly involved. You get drilling down into the material. You're being taught how to think critically, how to communicate well, how to think in multiple dimensions, and so on. You'll do research, footnote, make argumentation. In other words, what liberal arts does in equipping you for a life of service to your country and each other. They fully bought into that. And from that point forward, the class just started it was already good, but they became even more so. But they're thirsty, they're hungry for education, they want it, and they realize the power that the education can have. And that's, as a professor, teacher, that's a good day, right? Students show up wanting more than what you can give them. This crew, they were motivated. So we went straight at stuff like the pro-slavery features of the Constitution. And so then you ask the question, well, you know, at what point, if you're a black person, were you supposed to win in this environment? When the laws are already set up a society in a situation where you're guaranteed to fail. The 1740 Negro Act passed in South Carolina was one good example. You're not allowed to grow food, not allowed to own a dog, not allowed to read and write, not allowed to earn money. Your only job is like Frederick Douglass in his narrative in 1845. When his master found that his wife was teaching him how to read, the master said, his only job is to be a slave, to do as he is told, period. He says, if you teach him how to read, he'll become dissatisfied. And the key point, he says, and you will not be able to keep him as a slave. When Frederick Douglass heard that, learn how to read and write, he can't keep me as a slave. And that's when he started looking into himself and he said, all this all this stuff I've been thinking about, all those things I've been wondering about, how they told me I was stupid and I'm supposed to be like this, apparently it's not true. And learning the ABC can help to open my mind up and move away the fog and bring me into the light. I want more of it. I said, that's what's happening here for you all.
The laws that were in place, the systems that I did not see, and how I did not see them, I don't know. But I realized these systems was all around me and I couldn't see how powerful and entrenched they were. And that's what Civil War America showed me.
They realized that either they, the society, the system, somewhere, somehow, somebody had pulled the wool over on them, on education. And I could see them just, the gears turning. What could I have done differently if I just had the tools with it? I had to let them live with that for a moment. And I saw that's when you moved into gear two, like, I'm going to get this no matter what happens.
I understand from, my current incarceration that my limited education kind of thwarted my ability to make good decisions. Learning more about humanity, learning more about myself and others has helped me become a better decision maker.
When a person gives of themselves, expecting nothing in return, something transformative occurs. It's a story we know all too well. When the gift is offered with humility, there's always a return on that investment. Sometimes it's as simple as a profound sense of fulfillment or joy, but often the impact extends far beyond that.
It's satisfying because some of what I'm giving them, a lot of what I'm giving them, I get the impression that they walk out of there and they're thinking, oh, that's why that happened. Or, oh, that's why this thing went down like that. They have a more refined understanding that if they get out, here's what I need to do to change that, right? This kind of thing to make sure that this doesn't happen to anybody else.
Now that I am earning an education, one thing that I will continue to do is to invest in humanity, to make humanity better in just small pockets. Even if it's at the basic ground level, I want to be able to help encourage someone to do something better with their lives.
So they have enough mileage behind them to appreciate the mileage in front of them. They can take the education and be more directed, more targeted, more focused in what this can do because they understand the kind of damage that can happen if you fail to implement it, if you don't have it. So there's an urgency there. And it's not just one that's going to help them survive, one that helps them survive, but survive with victory and then turn that into a thriving occasion. That's the difference.
One of the things that has been heavy on my heart is creating a nonprofit organization in which I can teach the youth horticultural principles because I'm a green thumb guy, but at the same time mentoring them.
I would like to open up a restaurant and possibly a restaurant hotel. I would like to do that. I don't want to run the world. I don't want to be the richest man in the world. I like being around people. And I like that environment of humanity when people are celebrating life. And I want to be a part of that. This is a good school, and I hope that this program continues because it's having a powerful impact here at MCF in the way it's changing the culture on this campus.
Winston Churchill once said, "We make a living by what we get, but we make a life by what we give." It is through the dedication of those like Dr. Johnson who come alongside those needing someone to believe in them and to show the way that lives are transformed.